In the heart of Malaysia, where emerald forests once stretched endlessly, life thrived in balance. Every sound, the rustle of leaves, the call of birds, the hum of insects, told a story of harmony between humans and nature. But this harmony is fading.
People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction.
Climate change is destroying your future. Carbon dioxide is accumulating in the atmosphere. Global warming is killing the Great Barrier Reef.
It is now or never.
Each year, we lose thousands of hectares of forest. What was once a safe home for wildlife now becomes silent ground. Tree falls, rivers dry, and the echoes of animals are disappearing. This is habitat destruction, the loss of the very places that sustain life.
In Malaysia, this issue feels personal, from the mountains of Sabah to the river valley of Pahang. Development continues to rise. Roads, plantations, and cities replace the homes of countless animals. Some call it progress, but others call it loss. This tiger, which used to represent strength and pride, is now under protection and far away from its natural wild habitat. It reminds us that habitat destruction is not just about cutting trees, it is about losing our identity as a nation, one species at a time. While these images may not directly display wildlife, they do indicate the human footprints such as pollution, construction, and fast alteration of landscapes. Each image tells the same story, the choices we make to shape the earth we live on. But the issue is not only about the environment, it is about ethics. Environmental ethics explores our moral relationship with nature. It asks the critical question, which is, what is the right thing to do when our actions harm the planet we depend on for survival? In Malaysia, this question becomes more crucial every year. With the increase in population, growing industry, and shrinking forests, it forces us to think, how far will we go for comfort and growth? And what will we destroy to get there?
This matter connects us all, from native peoples relying on forests for their daily lives to urban dwellers who enjoy the benefits of clean air and water from the forests. Habitat loss is our loss too, in the sense of health, balance, and the quiet beauty that keeps our world alive. Education plays a significant role here. Changes in communication can change the way people think and act toward the environment. To learn how awareness is initiated, I spoke to someone who is directly working with the next generation, which is a teacher, Mrs. Husna. Even though there were a few technical problems and the interview video couldn't be shown entirely, I have still included some of the questions and answers in this video.
Wonderful point. In your experience, how aware are students in Malaysia about environmental issues like deforestation or endangered species?
Okay, I think some students know the basic, especially if they watch National Geographic or learn in the science class. But many still don't understand the deeper impact. They might know the cutting trees instead is bad, but they don't realize it affect the animals. That's why teacher must have a big role in connecting the fact to the real life value.
That's wonderful. How do you usually raise awareness among your students?
Okay, for me, I like to use storytelling and give them watching the videos or short documentaries.
That's very inspiring. Do you think our community and media are doing enough to communicate this issue?
I think there's a lot of improvement. We see more campaign and at the social media post right now. However, I still believe we can do better. Just ask them to make some message relate to the young people about the nature.
All right. Thank you so much for spending your time to be interviewed with me today.
It's
I would
okay.
your opinions.
Thank you, Gigi.
From the video, we can learn that Mrs. Husna reminds us that education is more than just knowledge. It's a call for empathy. When teachers encourage a sense of awareness at young age, they are molding the citizens of tomorrow who will one day be responsible for making ethical decisions regarding how we care for our planet. Her comments reflect the heart of this project, which is that the battle against habitat destruction does not start in these community meetings or corporate boardrooms, but in classroom itself in Malaysia. As one student at a time, they are gathering hope for change. Awareness starts in the classroom, but it must also exist in our conversations, our media, and our communities. Communication is the bridge between knowledge and action. When the bridge is weak, then even the most compelling message can be easily forgotten. When we talk about environmental issues, we usually think about science, pollution, temperature rise, and deforestation. However, perhaps the greatest challenge is not that people lack of knowledge, but how knowledge is delivered and whether people truly connect with it, truly understand it. A lot of campaigns fail at reaching the hearts because they speak only in numbers and facts, and that's not where people's true motivations lie. Real emotion, empathy, fear, and love of nature are what truly move people. In Malaysia, the following barrier exists in environmental communication. The first of all is lack of engagement, where people see campaign as background noise. Second, information too complex. Scientific terms are often intimidating and leave the public confused. The third one is cultural inconsistency. Message may not align with community values, where which it will confuse the people. And the last one is short attention span. In the digital world, people prefer quick content. In order to overcome these barriers, we need to use creative ways such as storytelling, visual, and using personal voices, just
just like how this documentary aims to do. Let's explore how some Malaysian organizations are already fighting for awareness and change. For example, WWF Malaysia, the campaign entitled Together Possible. Through campaigns, WWF Malaysia showcases the charm and vulnerability of our biodiversity. They use powerful images like the Malayan tiger, sea turtles, and the forest to help remind us of what we are actually protecting. Their strength lies in storytelling with emotional resonance and collaboration. By engaging local communities and schools, they show that protecting the environment isn't solely a job only for the scientists alone. It's actually a shared responsibility for all of us. However, their messages sometimes struggle to reach rural audiences who may not have any access to the internet. They could significantly improve their impact by investing in outreach through local languages and engaging community members at grassroots. For the next one is from the Department of Environment, which also known as DOE, and their campaign entitled Indah Alam, Indah Hidup. The DOE deliberates about communicating policy where all the rules, regulation, environmental laws, and clean up are policy based. Their campaigns are very informative, yet the audiences can sometimes feel distant. To engage young audiences, DOE should incorporate more interaction into campaigns, which may likely include interactive elements like social media challenges, short films, or youth competition. When we combine both WWF's emotional storytelling with DOE's structure and authority, we find a balanced formula in it: communication that touches hearts and shapes minds. After observing the successes and challenges of both campaigns, I had some realization that awareness starts small and it starts with just one person willing to tell a story differently. This prompted me to initiate Echoes of the Wild, a short digital campaign video that seeks to reconnect Malaysians to their natural heritage. The goal is just very simple. First, it is to remind us that every choice we make, like what we buy, how we live, and what we share online, it either protects or destroys the habitats that sustain us. This campaign aims to get us from simply awareness to action through an emotional connection to our storytelling, then asking you to reflect further.
Part of my environmental project where I explore how communication influences people's understanding of environmental issues and how awareness can shape our action to protect the nature. By the end of this presentation, I hope we can see that environmental change doesn't only depend on science or law. It begins with how we communicate with one and another. So for this first slide, let's start by understanding the role of communication. Communication connects people's ideas and actions, which is very important. It helps society to understand complex environmental problems with such a simple and meaningful ways. For example, through education, teachers can introduce environmental ethics, teach for like teaching students why protecting forests and animals matters to our lives. The media also plays such a strong role in this. For example, documentaries, social media posts, and short films can allow information to reach a global audience within seconds. This is why social media should be used for. When communication is clear and creative, people become more emotionally connected to the nature, and that's what emotional bond is inspires real action. However, spreading awareness is not always been easy for us. There are a lot of challenges in order to spread awareness about our environment. Some communities still lack of environmental awareness or any access to some of the information. They may not see issues like deforestation or pollution as part of their daily lives. Many campaigns also use scientific or technical language that's hard to relate to our emotion. For example, um, explaining about climate data might not engage in the public unless it's connected to human stories, such as families losing their homes due to floods or farmers who are struggling with droughts. So, one of the major challenge is making the message personal and emotional. Communication needs to move beyond facts and statistics. It needs to make people feel responsible and capable of change. There are some successful campaigns in Malaysia that we can look through. The first example is from WWF Malaysia with their campaign entitled Together Possible. WWF Malaysia also did held a campaign, and it is called as Save Our Tigers campaigns. You can see that WWF Malaysia have done a lot of campaigns in order to spread more awareness to our society about the environmental issue that have becoming more serious nowadays. They use such emotional storytelling, striking images, and they did some partnerships with school to raise awareness about endangered species by showing real wildlife and real people. They they could create more empathy and hope. The second example is from the Department of Environment Malaysia, also known as DOE, through their Love Our River campaign. DOE focuses on education and public participation, encouraging the communities to take part in river cleanups and conservation activities. This way, people can see how serious the environmental issues where we can look through that our river have been polluted with toxic waste and those rubbish that are being thrown by those irresponsible people. Both organizations use communication not only to inform but also to invite Malaysians to act together. These Examples remind us that communication is not about telling people what to do, it's about inspiring them to care. Now, let's evaluate what makes these campaigns effective. So, this slide shows that people respond better to emotionally storytelling compared to plain information. Um, when people see visuals of real human protecting nature, it creates more empathy in them. It's like we are imagining ourselves doing the same. Social media also plays such a big role, especially among the youth. Um, nowadays, people is nowadays the people, especially those younger generation, have their own social media. So a single video or post from the social media can reach thousands of people instantly, which can help spread awareness faster than the traditional campaigns. The most successful environmental campaigns have three things in common. First, they inform. Second, they inspire. And third, they involve their audience. Communication must feel human, hopeful, and more connected to their daily life. After studying these campaigns, I was inspired to create my own awareness ideas called the Voice of the Wild. The main objective is to raise awareness about habitat destruction among the youth. The campaign uses a mix of storytelling, some arts, and school-based activities to make learning about the environment creative and personal. Some ideas include maybe some poster competition or short video project or some mini challenges where students pledge to care for a plant and share its growth on social media. Well, the message is simple. Even small voices can protect the wild because when young people feel connected to nature, they become its strongest advocates. Okay. In conclusion, I, I'm sorry. In conclusion, communication is more than just sharing information. It's about creating, understanding, emotion, and action. Environmental awareness grows when people listen to stories, see real impacts, and feel part of a shared responsibility. As Malaysians, our role is to continue spreading awareness through social media, classroom, and daily choices. Remember, awareness always begins with understanding, but real change begins when we speak, listen, and act together. Thank you for your attention.
In this project, I learned that communication is about more than simply speaking, it's about connecting. Environmental ethics tell us that
all living things have worth, not for the benefit they offer, but simply for existing. As the Quran reminds us in Surah Al-Araf, and do not cause corruption on the earth after its reformation, and invoke him with fear, that your prayers may not be accepted, and hope that they will be answered. This teaching asserts that safeguarding the environment is an inherent act of faith and responsibility, confirming that every action, regardless of its scale, carries profound meaning. The earth may not be able to communicate with us using words or our language, but it communicates by using a variety of signs for us to observe. For example, rivers dying, vanishing forests, and also silent wildlife. Since we have been living off the land, if we observe closely, we may realize that the earth is asking for our help. The question is, how will we act? This documentary is not just about awareness, it is a reflection of our connection to creation. Together, we can definitely rebuild the harmony that once existed where human and nature coexist, not compete. Because in the end, protecting nature is also like protecting ourselves.